Ladies and gentlemen, here we are, game week 21 picks, game week 20 in the books, and what a week it was, not just for our picks, but in general. Manchester derby, North London derby. I'd like to say we'll do some patting ourselves on the back here. I had the Manchester derby score exactly right, so that's 2 points for me. I also picked Arsenal to beat Spurs, so that's another point for me. So I was able to get the big game.
No, Jack, you were so close. I'm pretty sure you said 3-0.
I said, yeah, I think I said 3-0, it ended up being 2-0, and it well could have been if Eddie Nketiah had his shooting boots on.
Honestly.
We had a couple, James, though, you caught me up, though, in a couple of the areas on the game week, because at the beginning I had a big lead, but then you were able to catch me up a couple of times. I'm just trying to look down here. Yeah, you had some of the lesser known games you got bang on as well, so you were able to catch me up. I ended up beating you that week 11 points to 10. So that 2 point gap is now a 1 point gap. So me and James neck and neck, just giving you the overalls. I have 101 points. James has 102. So game week 21 is a big one. James, let's dive straight into it, and we're starting off with a hot game. Liverpool struggling. We don't know what's going on. James, is it a team in transition? Welcoming also another team in transition. Chelsea Football Club to town. Obviously, James, I think these teams could be playing the worst football of their lives. This is still a monumental fixture, especially at Anfield as well. Who have you got winning this one?
So we're gonna call this the transition fixture. You know, every team. Also, guys, please go check out our transition video. You know, all football clubs making excuses when their teams are doing bad. Right now, Arsenal are not in transition because we're winning. Yeah. But yeah, Jack, this is a very difficult game to call because I really don't know how to feel about this because both teams are coming in there with very, very bad form. Yes, granted, Chelsea did win their last game against Fulham, maybe coming into the game with a bit more confidence. But at the end of the day, Jack, there's a big factor here. It is at Anfield, and we know what Anfield does to Liverpool, but with a player like Virgil van Dijk is out, to me, it's Liverpool's heart and soul is out there, is a big thing. But look at Chelsea on like the other hand, they struggle to score goals. They struggle to create chances, and João Felix is missing. I'm not even sure if Mudryk is going to be available. I hate saying that, but Jack, this is a tough one for me. I don't know where to go here. You know, I'm going to sit on the fence. Let me sit on the fence here. Actually, do you know, Jack, this is a tough one for me.
I know. Do you want me to go? Let me go quick.
Okay, I'm going to say Liverpool 3-2.
3-2. Jesus, bloody hell. Gee, after all that deliberation, you come up with an absolute blockbuster.
And Jack, I'm just looking at the previous fixtures. I'm thinking, ooh, it could be one of them games.
I got this as 1-1. Again, both teams I think can be got at, but I think both teams lack the conviction in the final third to make a statement, to score 3 goals, to score 4 goals. I'd be amazed if either team scores 2 or above in this one. So I'm just going to play on the basis that Graham Potter knows this is a process, right? He knows he's still getting his team together. There's a lot of moving parts in this Chelsea squad. We know that already. I think he's not going to want to lose the game. Liverpool, much the same way. As much as I'm sure Jurgen Klopp wants to puff his chest out and beat Chelsea and we're not going anywhere, I think this Chelsea team are going to be a tough team to, a tough team to break down, but I think they can still be got at. I think each team will take one chance at some point. So 1-1 for me. I know it's quite a drab affair, but it strikes me as 2 teams who don't want to lose as opposed to 2 teams who are looking to win. Moving on, slightly less of a big Hollywood game here, but Leicester City versus Brighton. James, Brighton are just a really good football team. And again, as much as Graham Potter, I think, deserves a great deal of credit for the work he's done, and obviously he's earned his move to Chelsea, and he's now managing a big team. The Brighton train is still going strong. Like, I'm just going to bring up the table here. This is a team in 7th. They 2 games in hand on the position in 6th. And if they win their game in hand against Spurs as well, they actually go above Spurs. So this Brighton team are not messing around here, and De Zerbi deserves a lot of credit for continuing that. Leicester, I still don't know really what we're looking at here. This is still a team that's performing very, very badly. I believe it's 4 losses on the bounce now. I think that continues, even though it is at Leicester City. Brighton 3-1 for me. Who have you got?
Jack, I'm just looking at the form right now. Leicester City have lost the last 4 straight games. Just don't. Once they seem to pick up momentum, it kind of drops. I don't know what's going on with James Maddison. If he's even fit, does Jamie Vardy even have a future at Leicester City at this moment in time? Because it looks like he's kind of slowly but surely making his way out. And to me, they don't have an out-and-out replacement for him. I'm not sure what's going on mentally with Yuri Tielemans, because a team might call out for him, and with 6 months left on his deal, how committed is he to Leicester City? But you mentioned Brighton, Jack. Look what they've done. The last 2 games against Liverpool and Everton, Jack, they've scored 7 goals. In fact, the last 3 games against Liverpool, Everton, and Arsenal, Jack, they've scored 9 goals. Granted, they lost 4-2 to Arsenal, but that could have been easily a 4-4 game. Because remember, they got the VAR goal disallowed at like 4-3, which could have been crazy because Arsenal looked on the ropes there, and Brighton just seems to be a really, really, really tough outfit for a lot of teams right now. And I'm going to back them, Jack. I'm going to back them to go to Leicester and pick up something. I'm going to say 3-1 Brighton, Jack.
Yeah, we got the same score on that one. I'm not too surprised. Staying with you, James. South Coast, Southampton, bottom of the table. Did pick up a win this past week, though. Are things turning around in Southampton? Aston Villa coming to town.
Southampton, always a weird team to predict, but this season it seems to be for some weird reason is that they're performing in the cup competitions, but in the league they just can't seem to find that rhythm. But a big massive win against Everton was to me very important for this team. But Aston Villa under Unai Emery, to be fair, it's been very, very good. In the last 5 games they've only failed to lose once. And think about it, they've won 3. They've, to me, found a bit of consistency under Unai Emery. Granted, they got knocked out in the FA Cup, but I'm going to stick with Unai Emery. I'm going to sit on the fence here. Yeah, I was thinking of going for an Aston Villa win. The history is telling me an Aston Villa win. I'm going to sit on the fence here, and I think both teams are going to get something out of it. I'm going to say 1-0.
1-1. Yeah, look, I am sticking with the Aston Villa win. I think Unai Emery has them playing better football. The Southampton team are bottom of the table for a reason. Lots of goals conceded, not lots of goals scored. The loss column has a very high number in there. This is a team that's bound to go down. And honestly, from where they were, if we think about the what was it, Morgan Schneiderlin, Victor Wanyama, Pochettino team that we all remember with Tadic and those guys, to fumble that situation as badly as it seems they have. I think going down to the Championship, learning their lesson and licking their wounds looks like it's something they may need to do. So for me, Aston Villa 2-1. I don't think it will be pretty, but I think Villa will be able to get it done. West Ham United versus Everton. To me, these are the 2 teams that stick out like sore thumbs in terms of underwhelming, unimpressive teams so far this year of where they should be and where they currently are. James, I'm going with 0-0. Again, similar to Liverpool and Chelsea in that game, this is 2 teams that won't want to lose. They're going to look at draws as kind of wins in this situation, right? I think that both teams are capable of winning this game, which also means that both teams are capable of losing the game, which also means that both teams are capable of drawing this game. But what I'm going to say is no team is going to score more than 1 or 2 goals. I don't think either of these teams are capable of that at this point. So I'm going to go on the basis that actually it's 0-0. It's a pretty drab affair in London. Who have you got?
Jack, to be fair, looking at the previous fixtures, there is a lot of 1-0s there.
Mm-hmm.
1-0s there. So it's not historically a high scoring game when you look at it. Even Jack, you look at each team's last 5 games, they've only managed to pick up a point in their last 5 games each. So both teams are going in with terrible form. But looking at the situation, both teams don't want to lose, but there kind of has to be a winner here. I don't think each team can just settle for a point in the situation, especially looking at the form of both sides. Everton, I don't know where their goals are going to come from, Jack. I think they're struggling to find a consistent goal scorer week in week out. Calvert-Lewin is in and out with these injuries. You can't trust them. They might need to go in the window and find one. And Everton and then West Ham in the other hand struggle with that. Samaka, he's been in and out, and Jack, you know how much we both believe in him. We know the quality he has. Jack, he's shown it. He's shown glimpses of it. But I'm gonna back West Ham here. The fact that it's at the London Stadium, the crowd might be able to push them through here. I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham.
2-1 West Ham. James, staying with you, Bournemouth are currently on a 4-game losing streak, but Nottingham Forest have won 2 on the bounce. They drew their game before, so out of a possible 9 points, it's 7 points for this Nottingham Forest team, coming in probably quite confident. Who have you got, Bournemouth versus Nottingham Forest?
You're looking at Nottingham Forest's previous 5 games, Jack. They've been they've been on a decent run, and they've only dropped points against Man United and Chelsea. Think about it; they're able to get a point. Chelsea in a game where, if you watched it, they look capable of winning and taking all 3 points there. The form is there right now. They're playing with confidence again. With the big turnover that they had in the summer, I think bringing in a crazy amount, 20, 22 players. At least they had the ambition to go for it. Would that be enough to stay up? That's a different story. But I'm liking what they're able to do right now. And I'm going to back them, Jack, to go and get another result. So I'm going to say 1-0 Nottingham Forest. Actually, 1-0 Nottingham Forest. I was going to say 2-1 in there. Let me go 1-0. I'm looking at it in terms of goals. Bournemouth have failed to score in their last 4 games, so maybe they won't score goals.
I am going for 2-1. I think that is probably going to be the right result. Yeah, this Forest team, again, we always knew that this was going to eventually happen. We've seen the likes of Brennan Johnson come to life, right? We've seen some Forest players playing better, right? You may not necessarily recognise the team sheet or the squad from the year before, but you may now start to see, okay, there's a bit of consistency, some relationships are being built. They were always going to have a better understanding the further through the season that they got. That was always going to happen. It doesn't always work that way, but I think it's fair to assume that was going to be the case. This Bournemouth team, James, it's a championship team that have lucked their way into the Premier League. And look, I don't even know where they are in the table right now, but they're 17th, so they're just out of the relegation zone, and the teams beneath them, especially with West Ham and Everton, are far above the calibre of the likes of Bournemouth. So to me, the slump starts now. It's a long, hard season, and the quality is going to tell from these other teams, and maybe we'll see this investment start to pay off for Forest. But yeah, pretty routine 2-1 win here for Nottingham Forest. Staying with me, Crystal Palace, Newcastle United. James, Newcastle United are amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's the best defense in the league. They've conceded 11 goals in 19 appearances. That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. Again, the likes of Fabian Schär coming in, Sven Botman's come in, been kind of a revelation as well. That midfield and just the general aura of the team, you can tell that Eddie Howe now has talent and ability across the board that he can now work with, where in previous jobs, he did not have that level of talent. So we can see what he's doing there. A routine 2-0 win for Newcastle here. Great to see Alexander Isak back and scoring. That was awesome. I was so happy with that. I know it was a late goal and all that, but yeah, I'm going to stick with 2-0 Newcastle.
Jack, I find it hard to disagree with you here. Palace have only scored once in the last 5 games. Newcastle haven't conceded in the last 5 games. Palace are a team that I'm so high on them with the quality they have individually, especially in the wide areas. But just for some weird reason this season, the consistency level just hasn't been there. When we expect them to pick up points, they don't. And when we don't expect to pick up points, they somehow find a way to do so. But Jack, actually mentioned with this team is that the belief is ridiculous. The fact that in a game against Fulham, where Fulham had a penalty, Jack, to win it all, Fulham did enough, frustrated them. They found a way, and Jack, to me, that's a top 4 mentality. That's a title-winning mentality. The fact that, Jack, they don't concede, they see me even more impressive. I think they're gonna go there, and then they're gonna win 1-0.
Yeah, James, I'm just looking at. I've got a fridge magnet over here.
Newcastle win.
From Bobby Moore, if you ever concede a goal, you're going to win more games than you lose. And again, look, if you build from the defence up, we've seen brilliant teams been made that way. You say, what did you say there, James? 1-0 Newcastle.
1-0 Newcastle.
1-0 Newcastle, lovely. Manchester City versus Wolves is the next one coming up, James. Obviously, Man City losing that Manchester derby there. How are they going to react against this Wolves team who got a win, right? Some movement's been happening. Lopetegui effect is starting to be seen here. What do you think is going to happen?
Again, Wolves have picked up a little bit of form, but hasn't been crazy. Right. You know, it hasn't like been scintillating. In the last 5 games, they've only been able to win 2. But granted that their 2 losses came from Manchester United and Aston, 2 teams who are flying at this moment in time. They did go to Anfield in the FA Cup and should have won the game. You know, I don't know what that VAR decision was like, but Manchester City, Jack, in the last 5 games, you know, the fact that they've only won 2 is not Manchester City. Like, you usually see a win column, just W's everywhere. It's interesting because they do have the Tottenham game in between that, and maybe that might affect the result, because if they go in there with a loss, you might, I don't know what's going to happen mentally. I don't know if Guardiola is going to change it as much. But Wolves, overall have been able to trouble Manchester City. They've been able to get some crazy results. I remember a few seasons ago where Adama Traore scored 2 goals to give Wolves a win at the Etihad Stadium, but it's hard to bet against Manchester City. It really is, and I think the fact that they're at home, they're angry from the fact that the last few results hasn't really gone their way. I'm going to say 3-0 Manchester City win. Hopefully they drop points.
got to get that jab in there. I'm going 2-0. Yeah, again, I think Lopetegui has played, I think, managed against Pep Guardiola before. He knows roughly what it's going to look like. Obviously, it's not the same as it was the last time he did it, but, it's going to look roughly similar. So I think they'll probably hold out for, I don't know, 25, 30, 40 minutes. Maybe this game might be 0-0, but eventually they're gonna grind them down. So to me, 2-0, not as explosive. But again, building blocks again for this Man City team who, some people still believe will win this league quite easily. Sammy, I'm looking at you right now. Right, staying with me, Leeds United, Brentford. This is kind of an interesting game, but again, James, I'm not doubting Brentford. I don't want anything that has Brentford not winning a game, or at least against a top team, at least drawing a game or making it interesting. So to me, Leeds United 0, Brentford 2. Who have you got in that one?
Jack, looking at Brentford's last 5 games, Jack, they picked up 4 wins. And Jack, the game that they did lose was the 2-2 game where they took a 2-goal lead and could have easily, probably should have won that game against Tottenham. So since the New Year, they've been flying. Before the New Year, they went to Etihad, beat City 2-1, a team that no one really wants to go against. And Jack, as you mentioned, it's hard. It really, really is hard to bet against this team right now. But I'm going to say Leeds are going to be able to get a goal here. I'm going to say 2-1 Brentford.
James, quite fitting here that you go first, right? Arsenal, Manchester United. James, again, we've been looking a lot at the form, the kind of form lists here. James, I see one team with all green, and I see one team with all green and 1 grey. These are the 2 best teams in the league right now. This is the biggest matchup we're seeing. This is the revenge game from earlier in the season. You picked against Arsenal when you were playing Spurs. I don't know what planet you were on when you were doing that. Are we going to see you pick Arsenal beat the most informed team in the league? Or are you going to do the classic fan thing again? And, you basically weighed it up, aren't you?
Jack, I'm just going to put this out there, right? If Manchester United go on to win the league, does Cristiano Ronaldo get a Premier League medal?
I don't know. Oh my God, can you imagine?
How crazy would that be if Manchester United go on to win the league and they're sending the medal out?
Is it 10? Ronaldo? You have to do 10? Is that what is that? I don't know why that number.
I thought it was 12 at the top. I'm not sure how many. Right. I'm not sure how many play for Manchester United, but I know Man City used to play 6 games, and City used to just sneak a few medals there. So I won't be surprised if United say, you know what, Cristiano, take that. We don't need you. Something crazy like that.
Maybe he'd come back on loan and play the games he needs to play.
Like maybe clutch moments, Cristiano Ronaldo returns back to Manchester United to win the league. It could happen. Okay. But damn, Jack, what a fixture. The only thing I'm missing right now It's Ferguson and Wenger at their absolute best going at it. Oh my days! It might not have Roy Keane, it might not have Patrick Vieira, it might not have Wenger, it might not have Ruben Nistelrooy, it might not have Thierry Henry. But damn, this is looking like one hell of a fixture. Both teams are flying at this moment of time. You know, Manchester United haven't lost. I think since that Aston Villa result, Arsenal just been flying. Another big result against Tottenham. It's hard. And you know what I'm like, Jack.
I do.
I'm very
Man United 4-0.
But Jack, Arsenal's convinced me. Arsenal have me crazy confident right now. I think Man United are coming to the Emirates and they're going with a big fat, and then leaving with a big fat 0. I'm going to say 3-1 to Arsenal.
3-1. I am going with an Arsenal win. I'm going with 2-1 on this one. I don't think it'll be 3. I think this United team are too good. A lot of the things I think we praise about Arsenal are also happening in the red side of Manchester right now, but because they're not as high in the table, we're not talking about it too much. Again, if you'd have told me a year ago, 2 years ago, that the beginning of 2023, we'd be talking about the 2 best teams in the league being Manchester United and Arsenal, I'd have said, you are absolutely crazy. These are the 2 dysfunctional teams that everybody's up in arms about most of the time. But that is the reality of what we're looking at. The reason why I'm giving Arsenal the win here, James, home advantage. That's the only way I can split these 2 teams. To me, if this was at Old Trafford, I would probably pick 2-1 Manchester United. But again, that home advantage, Emirates, the crowd's going to be fired up. And again, James, I think you share the mindset of a lot of the fans, the players and the coaches. We don't fear anybody right now. They're playing, James, at this point, they're playing with house money. They are totally playing with house money. There's nothing necessarily to lose here. The expectations at the beginning of the season wasn't a title challenge at all. They're in God's pocket. They're playing with house money. They can do whatever they fancy doing here, and they can play without fear. I would say the same about Manchester United, but those players that they brought in, and obviously the stature of the club, I just think that home advantage for Arsenal is going to be a little too much for this Manchester United team to swallow. But again, James, I mean, the game I'm most looking forward to this whole season is probably this game, which is crazy. You'd think it would be Man City, Liverpool, but it's not. Right, going over to the other side of North London, who are not doing brilliantly right now. Sorry, Spurs fans, but you've got another London derby, like every other football match in the Premier League is. Fulham are hosting Spurs, and I'm going to say Fulham win this one 2-1. I really don't see this ending well for Antonio Conte and this Spurs team, and I think that it's going to take a few bad results. I think they'll lose to Man City. They did lose to Arsenal, and I think they will lose to Fulham in a close game. 2-1 there. James, what have you got in that one?
Jack, I'm just looking at like Fulham's last 5 fixtures. The fact that they've only lost 1, and that was again against Newcastle in a fixture that you look at, you watch the game, they should have won. The missed penalty, and Newcastle getting the late goal. It's hard to disagree with you, Jack. I find it hard to because Jack, this Tottenham team is you're just beginning to dislike them. I think just the fact that Antonio Conte is going to come out after the press conference, Tottenham News going to make an excuse about the board players. I'm like, listen, what's going on there? Take care of that first. Fulham are absolutely for flying. Yeah, they got Mitrovic there. Also, Jack Vinicius coming in and contributing off the bench there. It's hard to disagree with you, Jack. Let's say I'm gonna have the same result as you for this one. 2-1 Fulham.
2-1 Fulham. Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. Drop a like on the video if you like what you've seen. If you're not subscribed, do hit the subscribe button. Give us a quick scroll down, hit that. Obviously, James and I are trying to come at you with these predictions videos and reactions as quickly as we can and trying to be consistent with it. But obviously, guys, there are games flying here, there, and everywhere. We've missed Manchester United Palace because that's playing tomorrow. And then we've also got, I think it's Spurs Man City, which is a huge game. But again, these are games from game week 7. So there's, the schedule at the moment is all over the place. But drop your predictions down for game week 21. James, anything else from you?
Guys, like, share, and big thing, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button for all our videos. Go check out all our previous videos. So many little bangers there. The Mudrick one, the transition one. Go check that out and give your comments and your opinions about that. Me and Jack, guys, we'll see you next time.